Hello friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, this would be nothing. And be sure, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, to be here, where we'll be live streaming, taking your guys' comments, putting them out there on the air. We'll have Law Nation, and there's so much to talk about. We've got Michael Irvin being investigated for a situation where a woman claims to have been sexually assaulted and drugged and all that. You know, good old TMZ's reporting it. So look at that with kind of a crooked eye. And of course there's Tony Romo situation, which just doesn't seem to want to end. But as I get Jobu a refill here, what I try and do here is, nobody really knows what's going on, okay? You can take all the information that's out there and you can basically come up with your own conclusions, okay? So nobody except people inside of Dallas know exactly what's going on. But what I do and everybody else tries to do is they try and get a jump on the story, try and figure out what's going on, you know, and they'll put out there what they think's going. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's way off, sometimes it's just flat out dreaming. Kind of like when they heard that San Francisco and Washington were going to be trading Kirk Cousins and Tony Romo might be going to Washington. You know, Ian Rappaport and the good old, you know, thing out there put that out there, which was all a bunch of bull crap. But it's something to talk about. But here is my conclusion with the information that I've got. Because we've been in this situation before where we've had a beloved cornerstone piece of the Dallas Cowboys that became too expensive to keep. And that's where I try and take my information and come to conclusions. Because it wasn't that long ago we had a Demarcus Ware who we were about to take a $16 million cap hit on, who had been injured. Durability issues were still a question, although it seemed like he still had, you know, some good years ahead of him, but became too expensive to keep. And when we look at that situation, I don't know about anybody else, but I knew he had to go because of how much money he cost, that if they couldn't work out a better deal, there was no way they could afford to keep him. Cowboys met with him, basically said, we want you to take a salary cut. He said, I'll restructure so you can change the deal, but I'm not taking any less money. And they said, well, bye-bye. Now, they could have held out and tried to make a trade and, you know, get a 4th, a 5th, 6th round draft pick, but the Cowboys didn't. They let him go at the beginning of free agency so that way he could end his career the way he wanted to. Well, this is deja vu, guys. Tony Romo, it's the same situation. The only thing that's different is, with Demarcus Ware, we didn't have a guy who was affordable to replace him like we do with Dak Prescott. Because you've got a franchise quarterback right now, which is the reason why Tony Romo's contract is expendable or not cost effective or too damn much, however you want to put it. So you need that cap space, as well as you don't want to keep him this year and then still take the cap hit again next year, because it's more money if you hold on to him for another year. So it's not about saying take a pay cut, because just like Demarcus Ware, he's not going to take a pay cut to be a backup. You didn't make Demarcus Ware wait till all his options are dried up like you're doing with Tony Romo. Because here's Jason Garrett today.
He and Jerry Jones are the principal people in working that situation through. And I don't want to get into the specifics of all of that. We'll just continue to work through that situation. Tony's been a great football player in this league for a long time. Been a great football player for our organization. He can play the game at a high level. He played one series this past year for us and was very productive like he has been throughout his career. And durability has been an issue the last couple of years. So nobody really knows how he can handle the course of a 16-game season. But that's true for everybody. You take that risk with every player on your roster. He's been a great football player for us for a long time. We've been fortunate to have him.
Okay. So, my conclusion after hearing that, after hearing Jerry Jones last night say, hey, we'll come up with a resolution by the time training camp starts out. If you're doing that, basically what you guys are doing is you're trying to end his career and make it so he doesn't have any options. Because what Jason Garrett basically said is, you know when somebody says, I don't mean any disrespect, and then they disrespect you? When Jason Garrett says, you know, he played one series for us last year, and he played great. He's been a great player for a long time, but durability has been an issue. You just cut the man off at the knees. Basically, you just said the guy that we've counted on for years, we can't count on him anymore. Now, I think most teams probably already know that it's a gamble with Tony Romo whether or not he's going to be able to stay upright. But it's another when your team that you've been with for 10 years who's going to do right by you says something like that. And when the owner says, well, we'll come up with a resolution by, training camp, by July. What? You guys are trying to kill his career. You don't want him to go play somewhere else. You are making it as difficult as possible for him to be successful someplace else. And maybe it's Jerry Jones doesn't want him to and wants to see him retired. Maybe he's called his buddies at Fox and CBS and said, hey, get Tony in the booth. I don't want to see him out there. Maybe it's that you guys are worried about him doing permanent damage because of the back injuries and stuff. Maybe it's you don't want him to go to the Texans and worry that it's going to come back and haunt you. But for whatever reason, you guys do not want him to play football anymore. Because you cared about Demarcus Ware enough to say, go ahead, get another deal, go play where else. We'll be here when you're done because you're a Dallas Cowboy. Right now, you're burning your bridges with Tony Romo. And you're making sure that he can't go elsewhere. At least, that's my opinion of it. So, we'll see what happens. Maybe it's Jerry Jones just trying to force the Texans' hand to try and get that draft pick before the draft next month. But the only thing that gives me pause in thinking that that's the case is then you've got Jason Garrett basically saying he can't stay healthy. So that's two completely opposite things. Tony Romo, the story that continues to give. I'm Mark Holmes, friends. This is Cowboy Jobu. And thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on the picture of Jobu and Sean Lee so that way you can help spread the mojo.